Hi, everyone. It's Margaret Manning here with lifeafterdeath.com. Lifeafterdeath.com is a community for people who are interested in topics related to spirituality, the afterlife, near-death experience, and life after death. And we have a series of guests here who we're talking to explain different aspects of this reality, and particularly today about the afterlife. Now, my guest today is Suzanne Giesemann. Suzanne is a speaker and a teacher, and she is a former U.S. Navy commander. So she was a skeptic before she became a metaphysical teacher and an evidence-based medium. And I'm going to have her talk a little bit about this. It's very, very interesting. She basically has the ability to talk with people who have left this world or passed over and talk about their stories in a very specific way. So I want to welcome her. She's got 12 books, I think 13 now, and a website, SuzanneGiesemann.com. Lots of wonderful information on this topic of the afterlife. Welcome, Suzanne.
Hello, Margaret. So nice to be here.
It's lovely to have you here. I go on a little bit because I'm so excited about all the things that you do, and I think your background is fascinating.
Thank you. Well, I tried to just get the information that I know people need now, because I needed it at one point, out in as many different ways as possible. Videos, radio show, CDs, you name it. What books? It's my mission. It's my life. It's my passion.
It's your passion and your purpose.
Oh, yes.
Well, I'm very happy to have you. You know, one of the things that we talk about here on lifeafterdeath.com is this whole idea of the afterlife. I mean, I guess that's the critical question. Is there life after death? And if there is, what is it like? So I'd love you to, first of all, tell us like where you get the ability to be able to tell us what is there through your medium role, and how an evidence-based medium works. And then we'll talk a bit about what you've discovered by talking to people in that dimension or that place.
Okay. Well, I didn't get this ability. We all have this ability. It's innately ours because we are both human and a soul. It opened up. I became aware of it through the process of sitting daily in the silence, asking questions. All right, if there is a greater reality, show me. Let me feel it. Let me experience it. Who's out there? And began to have so many irrefutable experiences that I could validate that I'm communicating with higher intelligence. Then this became the practice of communicating daily with those who have passed to the other side. I unfortunately have a waiting list that's so long I'll never get to everybody who wants a session, but I sit once a day and communicate with loved ones who have passed. And the evidence is so overwhelming. We could fill days worth of interviews with the verifiable information that I could not have known that comes through from those who have passed without reading their loved ones' minds here, things that even their loved ones don't know, that has shown me that they continue to exist, albeit in a different form. They can take on a body if they want to, but they can just simply be a light being, a being of light.
Now, that's the first time you said that, Suzanne, that they could take on a body if they like. I guess that's one of the misconceptions that we have about the afterlife, that somehow it's this ethereal world where you might have emotions, but they're nothing like the fun emotions that we have here. And just talk about that.
Well, if people go to my website, right on the home page, scroll down, and there's an ebook that's free. It's called Awakening. And at the end is a very long download that I got from my guides describing in detail the spectrum of experiences we can go through on the other side. Mm-hmm. And if you're very, very earthly and you really enjoyed your time here and you want to have more experiences, well, then you can create those experiences in the afterlife. Not everybody needs that. After a while, it's kind of, okay, been there, done that. What else can we do? But when you say you're surprised that they have a body, I have a fabulous quick story. Yes. I was doing a reading for a woman whose husband had passed. He came through so clearly, showing me how he passed, what kind of work he did, what kind of education he had. And at one point she said to me, well, can he tell you what he's doing on the other side? And Margaret, I'm like you. I used to be so skeptical. What do you mean doing? And whatever he tells me, I'm not going to be able to verify this. How's she going to know I'm not just making this up, which I would never do? But I've learned to put my doubts and skepticism aside and be open. I knew this man was right here in spirit, so I just asked him, what are you doing? And his reply made me laugh. Margaret, he said, I'm standing firmly on 2 feet and I'm playing golf every day. Now, I busted up laughing. And his wife said, oh, I'm so happy to hear that, because little did I know, golf was his passion, speaking of passion.
Yeah.
And just before he passed, about a year before, his leg was amputated and he could no longer golf because he couldn't stand up. And what does this man say to me from the other side? I'm standing firmly on 2 feet, honey, and I'm playing golf every day.
Wow. That's evidence-based. That's evidence-based mediumship. You've got evidence. And that's why I love talking to you, because it's not like you're saying, I go to this place and I see this and I feel that. No. It's like you're saying specific things that are super, super powerful. So that's
another one.
Yeah, go ahead.
Real quick.
Because it's important. These misconceptions are huge.
Yes. This mother whose child took his own life, she said, what's he doing on the other side? I asked him, and he said, I'm riding my bike, Mom. Well, her husband took her son's bike after he passed and painted it with his picture and colors he would like, and he rides that bike in his son's honor. And he said to his wife, every time I ride my bike, I can feel him with me.
Oh, wow.
And the son comes through and says, I'm riding my bike. Yeah, I guess so.
That's beautiful. It shows like I guess it's another misconception, is that the people who have died don't really think about their families. They don't care about what we do. They're just, if you're in heaven, you're just enjoying yourself, if that's a Christian belief that you have or whatever. So tell me why that's not correct.
It's not correct because of the preponderance of evidence that I get. Every time I do a reading, the spirits know I'm not satisfied unless they tell me something going on in their loved one's life right now. Oh, perfect example. We're doing a reading for a woman brought through her mother who had passed. And I said, your mother is showing me a flower. It's a potted plant. And she's saying, she's giving me the symbol now, now, now. This means this is current, as if you were just holding a plant. She says, no, I wasn't, Suzanne. So I looked closely. I said, Mom, show me that more clearly. I said, now she's showing me it's a lily. Very clearly, a white lily with green plants, green leaves. And the daughter said, no, Suzanne, I don't know that. I said, I am positive of this. Well, 5 minutes after the reading, Margaret, the woman emails me, so excited. Suzanne, the doorbell rang in the middle of our session, but I wasn't going to interrupt it to answer it. And what was that doorbell? It was the florist delivering a lily to her front porch. This is Mom, currently present in this reading, watching this happen.
That's amazing.
How about when I was sitting with my friend Irene, bringing through her daughter who had passed, the daughter said to me, hey, there's a dog treat under the couch. And I said, that's impossible. Your mother cleans her floors every day, and my little dogs are down there right now. They would have been scratching. She said, trust me, Suzanne, there's a dog treat. We went downstairs. She got out a flashlight and pulled out a dog treat that was under the
So they're paying attention to what we're doing, and they're caring for us and giving advice. And I mean, you mentioned, I think you mentioned in another talk that there's several people that had committed suicide who came through to you. And
just today.
Yeah, but that's a beautiful thought, that they would want to talk to their family, maybe to not explain, but to let them know they're okay, or because that's a sad way to go.
To explain as well, quite often. Not always. Sometimes they don't want to talk about it, but that's rare. Many times they know that their loved ones have questions and want to know. And they give answers that are evidential. It's not just, and it's not always, I was depressed. They'll give us, I remember the little boy who he was a teenager, and here's a better one. The young boy, I said, oh my gosh, your son's showing me he jumped from a bridge. Evidence. Mom said, yes, do you want me to tell you what bridge? I said, no, he can tell me. And he showed me it was the Verrazano Bridge in New York City. She said, yes. I said, he's showing me up and down moods. He was bipolar. He's showing me medication. He says he wasn't taking his medication, and he wouldn't have done it if he had been. And she validated, yes, his girlfriend didn't want him taking the meds, so he stopped.
Wow.
See, different for every person, and yet they're right here to explain these things to us.
That's a beautiful thought. No,
Yeah.
that's a beautiful thought that they care. But I guess another misconception is related to that, which is that somehow the afterlife, if it's there, is boring. Like if you think about the way some of the Christian traditions talk about it with, beautiful harps and everybody's happy. And it's sort of as if you're part of a big team of people that you absorb yourself into rather than have an individuality and, like you've described it, a connection to your own life, your own family. So is it boring?
I don't know that the experience that I hear is that it's active. What I get is that it's peaceful after this rough life here. Is there a person on earth that hasn't gone through challenges? Couldn't we use a little peace for a while? And yet they can engage in pleasurable activities. So I don't hear that it's exciting. Boring makes me laugh because it's just so incredibly love-filled, like a warm blanket that you wrap around yourself straight out of the dryer, just peace. But what they want us to know is that we can tap into that state of awareness anytime because the peace is part of us as souls.
Mm-hmm. It's really reassuring to talk to you, and you're giving me a perspective, and I'm sure lots of people who are watching on this whole topic. But I would advise people to go out to your website, SuzanneGiesemann.com. And also, you mentioned the awakenedway.org. Tell us a little bit about that. I think it's an initiative that you're working on now.
Yes, it's part of the same website. But I brought through a young man whose nickname was Wolf with amazing evidence. He left evidence that we are souls. And the soul often knows how we're going to pass and when we're going to pass before that filters into our human awareness. He left proof in my book, Wolf's Message, absolute proof that we are souls here and now. Well, the reason the book is named Wolf's Message is that in coming through so clearly to me, he also brought through teaching that all of us as humans would really do well to follow here and now. And the awakened way is really it encompasses these teachings with just 3 very simple principles that all of you, are a beautiful soul here and now, not just when you pass. A beautiful soul and human. The second one is we're part of one big web connecting all that is, and that's how we explain synchronicities and the magic. But this web exists across dimensions, not just here in the human world. And the third principle of the awakened way is you find your way home, this state of love and peace that exists here and across the veil through the heart. It's when we get stuck in our head trying to think through all this, to logic it out, that we miss home, which is right here.
Yeah. Well, that's a beautiful philosophy. As you were talking about people being in different dimensions and places, or that wasn't the word you used, but do people? One other misconception I just thought of it as you were talking was that somehow you don't meet up with your family who've gone before you. That somehow you're isolated. And how does that work if you're all in a different level, a different place? How do you connect with
you are
your
thinking
pets? And
like a human. You're thinking like a human, all or nothing, one particle instead of wave. If we are both the particle and the wave, the human and the soul, then we are everywhere at once at a soul level. We are pure consciousness. And so all you need to do is think of a loved one, and that energy that connects you, that magnetic draw between loved ones, brings you into instant awareness of each other, whether here or there. There is no there. There's only here in consciousness.
I'll take your word for that.
Please do. It'll just change your life.
Well, no, it's really, really powerful. And I'm so glad you had a chance to talk to us about this. I know we could go a lot deeper. And even the awakened way that you described, I can sense that's taking people in a very practical direction towards understanding. So
that's the goal, to make this conscious way of living part of your everyday living, and things will just start flowing in your life.
It's wonderful. Well, I definitely advise people to check out your website, SuzanneGiesemann.com, and also take a look at some of your books. You've got 13 of them. And the one I know about your own story is Messages of Hope. Which other one would you say is a good starting point for people?
Messages of Hope is a good starting point. And then if you want to really get some great evidence, especially if you have a child who crossed, that would be Still Right Here. But that's good for anybody who needs to know how active those who have passed are still in our lives now.
Yeah, no, I think those are two really good suggestions. Thank you so much, Suzanne, for your wonderful presence and for your kindness and for being here with us and in the community. And we'll talk again. Thank you so much.
Great.
If you enjoyed this video, please subscribe to our Life After Death YouTube channel and visit our website at lifeafterdeath.com. We are a community of people who are fascinated by the topic of life after death and subjects like near-death experience, the afterlife, reincarnation, and spirituality. Together we are exploring and discovering these topics together with curiosity and an open heart.